Good evening and welcome to Twilight Struggle. I'm Odie Apparatus and I'm here with ThePenksyFile.
How's it going, my friend?
Hello, sir. Hello.
We're gonna play a little nuclear winter game here. You've been stuck in the winter of Stardew Valley, so I figured we'd start off a nuclear winter.
What I've heard, don't quote me on this, but what I've heard is that the only way to win is not to play.
Yeah, that's that's something I can get behind.
That's not true in this game, actually. There is always a clear winner every single time.
Yeah, it's this is not sort of an indie artsy fartsy thing. What this actually is it's if anyone, you guys probably don't know my channel, but I'm very interested in board games, and board games have undergone kind of a renaissance in the past 20 years. This is probably not super rare, difficult to understand knowledge, but it's not really just Monopolies and Scrabbles of the world left, and Twilight Struggle was actually on Board Game Geek, which is the sort of big, huge database for board game information. It was #1 for a very, very long time, since it came out in like 2005. And the Steam version just came out, so we were going to sort of run through like a training turn for you.
Yeah, teach me how to Twilight Struggle, basically is the name of this one. So all full disclosure here, we have played one game of this already and the recording failed, so this will be our second go around, and hopefully it'll be even better than the first. And Pensky will be here to guide me along, because I still have no idea what I'm doing, honestly.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna play online, connect to the server, and he has an invite right there for me for a 1 hour game. We were on a timer last time? I didn't realize that.
Yes, we were on a 1 hour.
I didn't see it counting down.
It's up in the. It's like a chess timer. You can see it up.
So yeah, you get an hour and I get an hour. Okay, great.
So we did. You won the first game through the mercy of me. I actually won the first game, which fell to the into history. But this game is basically a Cold War. It's not really a simulation, but it's a Cold War game. Some people would get upset calling it a war game, but I think that any game about war is kind of a war game.
It's about more than that. It's more than war, actually.
It's based on the Cold War, so that there's no real direct conflict in this game. It's a lot of sort of jockeying for a position against each other. So it starts off with, we get to place influence in Europe. I, as the Soviets, get to place it in Eastern Europe, and you're going to get a chance to put it in Western Europe. So I put all my influence in there. We have this hand of cards down at the bottom, which we're going to take turns alternating playing cards. And so
now you can actually test me on this. I can try to explain it, and you can tell me how wrong I am.
Sure, yeah, that's actually a better way to go.
Let's start. So he was explaining to me last episode, or the one that's the lost to time here, is that the red countries here are battlegrounds, and these are contested countries that we want to control.
Yep.
And once he locks into those, I can't really get in there unless I cause a coup, basically, in those ones.
Yeah.
I think it's true of anything that has control. I can't just jump into it. But what this is representing, this left half is the U.S. half, the right half is the USSR half, and so he has 4 in Germany and he has 4 in Poland. And the card here saying Germany 3, Poland 3, that's telling you how much you need to get in there to have control.
Yes.
And control is an important thing that helps you score points when a scoring card is played.
Absolutely.
How was that? Anything wrong about that statement?
No, that was I think that was 100% true. I mean, Sweet. Yeah, you want to control, the battlegrounds are important to control because they affect scoring, but you also want to control because control, which is when the little tile changes color, and you have a blue tile in the UK, I have red tiles in East Germany and Poland, and you have like a white tile in Canada. The tiles flip to the colored side when you have control, so that's an easy way to visualize what the board state is. And outside of that, it's really just, you want to control battlegrounds. If you control something and I try to spread my influence into it, it becomes prohibitively expensive for me to do it if you control a country. So that's an advantage to control.
So what I just did there is I controlled West Germany because I know he's going to be trying to get into that way to get more control in Europe. And so we kind of have a Lockhorn situation there where he can't get in unless he causes a coup, which he still can right now at this early game phase. What else do we need to get taken care of right away? The DEF CON we need to explain, I suppose?
Yeah, DEF CON. Yeah, so why don't you explain? Well, let's run through the headline card.
Okay,
first,
headline phase where we're at right now. So in headline phase, we're choosing a card that's going to be, it's going to grant some special abilities usually for your round. Is that the best way of describing it, maybe?
Yeah, so the cards at the bottom have a number on them, and they also have an event text. So the number is how many ops points they have. So it's basically how many points you have to do things with on a turn. The event actually lays out what the card would do. So some of the card events have effects that last the entire hand of cards, so they're suitable to be played at a headline state. So a headline card, you're basically trying to pick a card that will either have the biggest impact or the longest lasting impact for you. And the cards are divided by, the Soviets have the red stars, the Americans have the white stars, and neutral cards have split colored, white and red. So for Modi over here, he's going to probably try to play an American card, which are the white stars that have a good effect for him. I'm going to be trying to play a Soviet card.
And I got a pretty good one this time around.
Okay.
So I'm going to play 5-year plan.
And I put out mine. It's a 5-year plan.
Yep.
And it goes, it's a tied up card that we both had 3, but US always goes first. So the 5-year plan was US discards 1 card. If it's a US event, it happens. If it's not, it just gets discarded without triggering. Down at the bottom, what did I discard? I discarded captured Nazi scientist. There you go.
Oh, see?
And my card was the De Gaulle card, which removed 2 US influence in France, and it added 1 of my influence. So that's why I have 1 in France now. Make sense?
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Wow, you got in there really quickly.
I did. So that's that. It's now my turn. Soviets always go first. So what I'm interested in doing is cooing. And I'm going to coup to drop the DEF CON. Do you want to explain how coups work here for the DEF CON?
Well, coup is basically he's going to play a card, such as Independent Reds here, and use that to roll some dice. And based on the dice roll, he may get influence in a country that I control. And so, for instance, Iran here.
Yes, coups are special because coups eliminate enemy influence before adding your own. Yeah. So so I knocked you out of Iran, and I had enough leftover dice roll to become a 2 and take control of Iran.
Right. So, yeah, he gets control of Iran now, and the DEF CON lowers to 4, yep, which limits what we can both. Oh, it applies to both of us, not just him.
Right.
Or me. So it means that no one can do any coups in Europe anymore. During this, while DEF CON's at 4, looks like.
Yep.
Am I right about that? Okay.
No, that's absolutely right. You can't do coups or realignments.
Yep. So yeah, I can't, for instance, go into East Germany with a coup now and try to take it over because he lowered the DEF CON to 4 here.
Exactly.
But I can still do Asia, Middle East, Africa, South America, South Asia, everywhere. So.
Yep.
What am I gonna do? First of all, I need to get familiarized with my cards here, so I need to take a moment here and take a look at what we can all do.
Always scoring cards are sort of a driving strategy, depending if you have any scoring cards, what you would need to do. Outside of that, what the Americans are trying to do in the early war is really just sort of stay in contention. The Soviets have a slight advantage in the early game. So what the Americans are really trying to do is just kind of hold ground and not lose too much potential in any of these regions.
Ooh, that would be really bad.
The biggest issues for you as it currently stands are the fact that you have lost access to Western Asia because of the Iran coup.
I see, yeah.
Thailand is also important to you, but you have influence in Australia, so you could kind of head up that way. My suggestion to you, it doesn't matter if you want, you don't have to do this. My suggestion to you would be, I would try to re-coup Iran to take it back so that you could possibly get into either Afghanistan or Pakistan.
And that will prevent him from doing any coups in Asia. Not that it really matters right now, but...
The problem with it is, I could, again, if your coup is a very bad coup roll, I could just come back and re-coup it back from you. So you'd have to consider that. Because I'll have DEF CON 3 on my side, and I could do a coup in Middle East. The other concern for you, I think, is France at this point. You don't want France to, unless you have the Truman card, your friend from the previous game, and things like that. And also, you learned your lesson about what can happen in South Korea, depending on those kind of situations.
That's that.
All right, so you played UN intervention. You played Suez Crisis on top of it, which is good.
And that cancels out. Basically, that was played so that it cancels out the negative effects that playing that card would give me. It gives me 3 influence, but it would give him a pretty decent ability with the Suez thing. It would give him 4 influence from. Let him remove 4 influence from France, United Kingdom, or Israel, which I have a lot of influence in right now. That would be very, very bad for me, especially with him in France too. So.
Absolutely. That's the way that you avoided that event from happening. You want to explain the space race while I consider my turn?
Okay, sure. Yeah, space race is up in this corner here. Next project, 2 ops, roll 1 through 3. So basically, you can take a card that you don't like the effects of, basically, and you don't necessarily want the influence from. If you play a card that has 2, or not influence, but 2 ops, as the points, the ops are the numbers here, the cards. If you play a card that has 2 ops on it, you can roll a dice, and if you roll a 1 through 3, you can basically get that marker for your space race. And then as you advance through the space race, you get special abilities like you can play 2 space race cards per turn, and the rolls change as you go along too. The costs of the ops cards change as you go along as well.
Yep.
But it always benefits you to get advanced, I think, in the space race, because there's some good benefits. And what that basically does is lets you get rid of a card that you wouldn't necessarily benefit from, or it would give too much of an advantage to your opponent. So you can get rid of a card that you don't care about the influence from. Like there's one of his cards here that I might get rid of for that too. Considering, because this would be very, very bad for us too. So I might actually consider doing space race on that one. And then the rest of the turn should go pretty smoothly after that, aside from this one, which I probably won't play just yet until it tells me I need to. Okay, so I am going to play space race right now. What did you do there on your turn?
I played Arab-Israeli War for the ops, and I just put 2 into Pakistan.
Okay, yes, because he controls Iran now, he can jump into Pakistan as well. Is that correct?
The adjacency are the little black lines between the countries.
Before he'd have to go through Afghanistan in order to get there.
Yes.
Because he has USSR connected to Afghanistan.
You can only place influence in countries you either have influence or you're adjacent to countries that have influence.
Exactly. So he can go into Poland, and then by Poland he can go into East Germany.
Yep.
That kind of thing. Anyways, I am actually going to play the space race on this one here. And hopefully roll a 3. That's not good. Oh, well.
Decolonization.
Does that happen then? Do the negative events happen then?
No, it never. The event never happens. You just
so even
don't
if I don't, it's my roll. It just lets me get rid of that card. But I can only do that once per hand.
Yes, absolutely.
Is the deal. So I don't get advance my space race, but it lets me actually get rid of that card. So it's not total failure.
Not a total loss. You prevented decolonization is one of the strongest Soviet early cards to have. So it's good to get rid of.
Decolonization would give him some influence in Africa, I believe, and Asia. So
yes. I'm interested in controlling the coups at this point, or the DEFCON is what I'm interested in. I coup South Korea. I'm unlikely to do it just because South Korea's stability number is a 3, and coups are basically you trying to do damage against double stability numbers. So you take your card value of the ops and you add a dice roll to it, and the difference between that and the doubled stability number is how much damage you do on a coup. So it's very hard to do damage to a 3 stability country. 4s are virtually impossible to coup. So I'm going to stick with a 2. I'm going to do it in Panama. I rolled a 3, so I just knocked you out. I lowered DEFCON to 3. Unfortunately, I didn't roll a good enough roll to get any influence in Panama. So the Americas
just remove me from it.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Which is not bad, but it's not great, but it's also certainly not bad to remove you from there.
Okay. So I am going to see. Let me ask you this: with the adjacency stuff, can you put influence in? Like, if you're 2 spots away from something, can you put adjacency, put 1 influence in one, and then same turn put 1 next? You have to get the influence secured, and then next turn do it.
You can't daisy chain. It's at the start of the turn. You can go from there.
Yep. That's why I ask these things. Ooh, I'm gonna play this one. It will help us long term.
There you go.
Let's do this. Get out of there, you.
Truman. All right, so France is gone. That's good. I am no longer able to get to France because I'm not adjacent to France at this point.
Yep, I'm insulated.
That's right.
Insulated, baby.
And you also know that because the De Gaulle card, which was my headline that put me in France, has a asterisk on it, so that card is
It's
never
not
going to
coming
happen
back. Yep. And so it's the same with the Truman card. So I could get one shot at that, make it count, basically.
Yep.
And basically those two cards offset each other, so it's a perfect thing for me. And it only cost me one influence point for it, basically.
Yep.
So.
And just advanced sort of knowledge, there's no other real cards that are going to help me getting back into France, so you're pretty much safe to take France at this point, which is unfortunate for me. And
Cool.
this is action round 4, so I've got a couple turns left. I'm going to play this as a coup. I'm interested in controlling the DEFCON here again. The only coup option I have to lower DEFCON at this point is Israel, which is a stability of 4, and South Africa, which is 3. I'm going to go with the 3. This is potentially bad for me. I need a 5 or 6. I got a 2, so that failed, but it dropped DEFCON down. So that's all I was really caring about at that point.
Oh, okay. That was South Africa. Okay. All right. So now that prevents me from doing any coups basically everywhere. That matters right now.
In Battlegrounds, yes. And
Yes.
the board is also empty enough where you can't actually coup anywhere because I don't have any influence outside of Europe, Middle East, and Asia.
So if you're controlling something that's not a battleground, how can I get it in there? That makes sense?
If I'm controlling a non-battleground,
Yeah.
you can always coup non-battlegrounds as long
Okay.
as the DEFCON still determines you can't do it in Europe, Middle East, or Asia at this point. But if I had like the Sudan right now, you can freely coup non-battlegrounds and there's no punishment to you doing it.
Okay. Let's see here. What did he play already? He played Korean War for the influence. Okay. All right. So I'm going to, or you played the Korean War for the coup just now.
Yep, that was
Yeah,
the coup.
that's right. I'm going to play this because it's going to make me play it eventually anyways. Right now is probably a good time because it's about even. So this is a scoring card. Pensky can explain that.
Yep. So the scoring cards, you must play. You must play scoring cards. If you hold a scoring card through the end of a hand, you lose the game. So the scoring card works by each region has a scoring card that comes up. In the early war, there's only Asia, Europe, and the Middle East. He played the Asia card. You have varying points depending on if you have presence, domination, or control. Presence is you have control of one country in a region. Doesn't matter if it's a battleground or not. You get 3 points for that. Domination is you have more battlegrounds controlled and more total countries controlled. You get 7 points for that. Control is you have control of all battlegrounds in a region. You get 9 points for that. You also get a bonus point for every controlled battleground in a region, and +1 per country controlled that's adjacent to the enemy superpower. So in Asia, that would be like Afghanistan for you.
Mm-hmm.
The way the points shook out, we both have presence, and I have one more battleground than you, so I get 1 more point.
So 5 points, and I have 4 points.
Yep. And the point scale is a sliding scale, 20 on each side. The first person to get 20 points wins the game, and it's a sliding scale. So if I score 5 and you score 3, I'm at net 2 positive.
Right now, he's currently at 1 up in the top of the page here.
Yep. So now it's my turn, and I have 2 cards left because this is action round 5, and there's 6 action rounds in the early war. I'm going to play this guy. I will play some influence with Mr. Nasser. I'll go right there into Syria, and I'll pass the game over to you.
All right, so he's going to get some influence. All right, I am going, because he did tell me France is pretty much safe for me now, I'm going to play the influence for France and control it.
There you go. So you're in, once you've done that, you've seen how the bar on the Europe thing next to France shifted over, so now it's like majority blue.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a quick way to tell what the points are. And if you click on it, you can see that you are actually now dominating Europe because you have more battlegrounds controlled. You have 3 of the 5. And
that's going to be worth 10 points for me, 5 points for him right now. And it is going to be coming up this first early war phase at some point.
Yes,
so.
The European scoring card is out there. So I'm interested in breaking control of Europe. I'm not in very good shape to do that. This is the last round, so I'm going to play the containment card. I'll trigger the event. So that was the card you had in the first game. It boosts your operations value. I'm going to try to minimize the damage. I get to play it where you only get the benefit from 1 card because I'm playing it on the last card of my hand. So I'm going to place influence with it. I'm going to go into India and commit.
Okay, yep. Working his way around. Now he has control of Pakistan and India. And I have one more card left here, huh?
Yep. And remember what I told you about Thailand too. Thailand is kind of a choke point. Yeah.
And with that in mind, ooh. No, I just want to play the influence. So I am going to work my way towards Thailand just a little bit here.
Heading into Malaysia. Yep. Sweet Malaysia. Formosan Revolution. All right.
And we're into turn 2.
There we go. And because you did not coup, there's 2 victory points that are lost. We explained that when you coup, you get military points based on the value of the card you play. And at the end of the round, whatever the current DEFCON level is minus your military points is how many penalty points you have. So because you had 0 military points, 2 minus 0 is 2. You lose 2 points.
Right. But because he had lowered the DEFCON to 2 at that point, I was not able to play anything at the end there in Europe, Asia, Middle East. So my options were limited as far as where I could coup. That would make any sense.
Yep. Start of a new turn, we get new cards. The DEFCON goes up to 3.
And the headline. Nope, don't want to do that. I want to pull a good card for me, mostly.
I have a fairly terrible hand of cards for my perspective, so this might be a good round for you. I'm going to play this.
How would that work exactly?
Doom, 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 doom. Which card is it?
Is it gonna matter? I can do a Indo-Pakistan war.
Oh, okay. So you'd pick either Pakistan or India, and there's a dice modifier depending on how many countries the other person controls that are adjacent to it. So for each of them, India is better for you because it only has 1 country that's adjacent controlled by me, Pakistan. If you roll whatever the thing is with the modifier, you would replace all the influence in India with your influence. Replace my influence.
That sounds like what I want to do.
All right, so it's a pretty good roll odds for you at this point. We'll see what happens. So it's probably asking you if you want to pick India or Pakistan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, of course. Roll it.
Oh, it failed, but
all right.
But it was a good shot. And I played the Middle East scoring card, so I got 6 points out of that because I have Domination at this point.
Gotcha.
Yes, Domination. All right, so it's time for the USSR. USSR going first always controls the coup landscape here. I don't really have good odds. I have South Africa again, which is sitting there annoying me. I am going to attempt a coup in South Africa. It failed again. I lowered DEFCON though.
All right. And that's bad because I can't do any coups in battleground areas then in Asia, Middle East, and Europe.
Yep. It also protects you in Africa though, if you wanted to start spreading into the other battlegrounds, because I can't coup to get back into there. I have a terrible hand. You're gonna have a lot of benefits this hand.
Okay. I don't want to do that. There's a lot of bad cards out there.
The game is all about hand management, basically. It's playing your opponent's events when they won't do as much damage and knowing when to hold on to cards and when to get rid of cards.
We're early in the round, so I'm going to play this event. So that means that his cards are going to have -1 value right now.
Red Scare Purge. Look at them whispering things to Joe McCarthy. All right. All right, so that was the event. You chose to play the event. What I'm going to do is I cannot coup. You have Europe locked down, unfortunately. I'm going to minimize the damage and not waste a lot more of my time. I'm going to play the European scoring card. You have domination. I have presence. It's 10-5, so you gained 5 points there from that. I really just didn't want to spend my entire hand trying to gain control of countries in Europe. It wouldn't have been worth it. So I figured I'd minimize damage and just get rid of the card at that point.
Gotcha. All right, so it's back to me then. I'm gonna hang on to that. We can, between early war and 3 turns of early war, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we can carry cards between war phases though, right?
Yes, if you play
if we have them still.
Yeah, you usually have 1 if you play perfectly. There are cards that obviously cause you to discard cards, which would cause it to go down, but you'll probably always have 1 card left over normally. And if you have the China card, as I do, it gives you another card because you'll hold on to that and have an extra card to play if you have 2 potentially bad cards.
All right, I'm going to play the influence from this. Grab Thailand, grab the Philippines, and
there you go.
Grab this.
Looking at the discard, I know that the Middle East, so all the scoring cards are out. So at this point, it's really about getting control before the scoring cards come back into play. All right, good job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to play the China card. Give an example here. Do you remember how the China card works? What's so special about it?
I do remember it passes back and forth between the players. That's the one thing I do remember.
It does. The China card starts with the Soviet player, and when you play it, it's unlike the other cards where it gets passed to the other player who gets it face down, and they have to wait to the next hand of cards to play it, and it's a 4-up card. And at the end of the game, the person holding it gets 1 victory point. I'm going to go there. I am going to, at this point, I'm worried about the state of Europe, so I'll put some influence in there as well. So I took control of Iraq, and I put an influence into Greece.
All right, so that's face down. I can't play it anymore this turn, but it's going to come into my hand next round.
Yep.
And it'd be a nice card for 4 influence, or I can use it to get extra bonuses in Asia. So,
yeah, the China card gives you, if you use all ops points in Asia, the China card gives you 5 ops instead of 4. Because China was the wild card.
Yep, China's the wild card.
Everyone needed China, the Soviets and the Americans. I think what's interesting about this game historically is just how big of an effect the Cold War had on sort of global politics, which is fascinating to me. Not through any sort of direct warfare, but just sort of the state of the world is basically largely a result of the Cold War activities. Cambridge 5. You don't have any scoring cards, so you were safe to play that, obviously.
Mm-hmm. And then I can add... What is it waiting on?
You need to decide what to do.
Oh, the place influence. Got it. We'll do this. We'll do this.
All right, taking over Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia, you can see it's the sort of two-tone countries in Asia. Mm-hmm. There is a Southeast Asia scoring card that comes out in the mid-war. It's unique in that you get 1 point for all of the Southeast Asia countries you control, and Thailand is worth 2 points. So it's a bit different in how it scores. It's also different in that it's a one-time scoring card. Once you play it, it's gone from the game. It's not like the other scoring cards which come back.
Okay, so less valuable as far as areas go then.
Yes.
So you can't score multiple times on it.
Right, exactly. But one person usually tends to control a lot of Southeast Asia, so it's when it comes up, it's actually worth quite a bit of points.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to play this card, which is yours. I'm going to play Marshall Plan, so I'll trigger that. You get to place 1 U.S. influence in each of 7 non-USSR controlled Western European countries. So it's a big card for the US.
It is a big card. Oh, really? Really?
So
1 influence in 7 non-USSR controlled Western countries. Okay, so non-USSR controlled countries.
But
you don't have control in like Finland, for instance.
Exactly.
Because it's not 4 yet there.
What I would suggest for you is you probably want to overprotect your battlegrounds with the 3 points, and then sort of figure out maybe ways to spread influence would be a good thing for the remainder.
Sure. I can do 1 point in each. I can't do 2 points though. So, do this. Do this. And let's do this. Okay.
Now we'll see a whole bunch of blue fly onto the board. West Germany, France, and Italy are locked down.
Go, my minions.
And sweet Sweden and Benelux. Interesting. All right, so now I played the event, so now I actually get to do stuff with it. I'm going to play some influence. Actually, just for fun, I'm going to try some realignments. I see you spreading out in Africa. I don't really like it. I'm going to try to realign you out of there. Oh, I failed in
change.
Zaire.
Okay, this is a straight up dice roll mostly. There's modifiers that get added though.
Yes. And all right, so I completely wasted my turn
Oh,
because
way to go.
Zaire remains.
Wow, that's a fun one. All right, so what were you saying about the Fidel one last time? You can play it and then also use it for influence back in
realignment. So the typical way for the U.S. to play the Fidel card is to play it and then use the ops to try to realign Cuba right afterwards.
So for that, would resolve event first?
Yep.
Okay, I think I might just do that.
So then the influence goes into Cuba.
And then try to realignment roll in Cuba.
Yep.
And then it's an even roll, so straight up dice roll. No change. All right.
So you get 2 ops out of it though, right? So you get another try?
Yes. Oh, attempted realignment in 1 more countries. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so you get the number of rolls is equal to the ops card, which is 2 for Fidel.
Well, that doesn't really help me a whole lot, though. I guess I could try, like...
You can try Cuba again. There's no...
I can do it again. Okay, well, that's handy. Nice.
And no change again.
All right, so there we go.
It backfired. Fidel is now entrenched in Cuba.
Yeah, deep in the Cuba.
But
it is a country I can go do a coup in at any point, because it's not part of the DEFCON status.
Right? You can always coup as long as DEFCON is not 2, because Cuba is a battleground.
Oh, it is a battleground. Okay, so I can't do it because it would lower the... Yeah, got it.
Cuba and Mexico are bordering the U.S. though, so the U.S. can always put influence into those countries.
Oh, okay. Even if it is controlled by.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
You just have to do the trick of paying 2 to.
Oh, dig an extra one. Got it. Okay.
So I'm gonna play some influence. I am going to put this influence into Burma. Oh, that's right. You have me under a red scare, don't you? That's right. So I get 1. That was a waste of a turn.
I did the same exact thing last turn. Turnabout is fair play.
All this chit chat. I'm used to just staring at the board here with the cards in my sweaty hands. I do like one thing about the digital version. It does speed the gameplay up. This is normally like a 3-hour board game, and the
first one was cut short, but
yeah, absolutely. The downside is I forget the rules about how the coups work and stuff because you don't see the dice rolls, really. It's sort of hidden. The computer's doing everything. So Comic-Con, you tried to space race it, you failed, but you prevented Comic-Con from happening.
Yes.
So action round 6, it's the USSR's last turn. So let's see, Modi, if you remember anything from last game.
Oh, yeah. It's okay. USSR reveals their hand, then the US may conduct an operation as if they played a 1. Okay. How did this work out last time for me to win? I don't remember.
So DEFCON is at 2, right? So what would be very bad? The person who plays the card, no matter who chooses the action, suffers the effects. So I've played a card that allows you to do a 1-up thing where DEFCON is at 2 and I have control of a battleground country in a region that can be couped at this point.
I can attempt a coup again.
Yep. What country?
In Cuba.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay.
The coup failed, but nuclear war happened. And because I played the card, you've won the game.
Oh, again. My God. Are you just stuck with that card as the deal?
What are the odds? No, well, I had it for that one. I would if I wanted to play through the turn, I would have to either hold on to it or find a way to discard it through the UN intervention.
Space race it?
Well, you can't because it's a 1-up card. You need at least 2.
You need
so
2.
I would need the containment card, which is the +1 for all my stuff to cause it to become a 2. Otherwise, I have to hold on to it or hope I get a card that gets rid of it.
So you needed a 3 in order to space race something then? Because of my card I played earlier.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, nice. That's a good card. Well, that means that freedom reigns once again.
That's right.
For democracy.
Well, at least we had a historically accurate result here. It didn't go on.
Mostly. It didn't go nearly as long as the real Cold War. Man, this was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Check out the Pensky Files channel if you are into Star Trek at all. I appear on his podcast, Pensky Files TNG watching thing. Is that what it's called?
It does not have a good title, which is something I look at every day and get upset. But yeah, Modi comes on. We do the TNG podcast. You can check it out on the channel. It's also on iTunes. And otherwise, the channel is just sort of board game stuff and occasionally video game coverage, a lot of sort of reviews and stuff like that, all that usual stuff.
This is a good way for us to cross over, though, on something.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is great.
It's a great game. If people are interested in board games or sort of what the state of board games have become, I would highly recommend checking this out. It's like $11 on Steam, I think, at this point.
Pretty great. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Check out his channel, check out mine, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a good night.